Direct Show, and we are in here with Jack Dyer, who is talking about freeze drying. This is Jack Dyer from from I think they're from Dyer Family Farms. Goodness. So I'm going to get out of the way and let you get a little sample of what they're talking about.
And that it's not that long, so you got to eat the food up. You don't want to put a whole bunch of food up that you're not going to be able to continue to enjoy, right? If it's going to go bad in 12 months. So that's a little quickly. And this presentation is just to hit some highlights to get to the questions and answers. The questions and answers where y'all ask me what you want to know. That's the meat and potatoes of this. That's what I want you guys to understand about freeze drying. And I'll answer anything I can. So the next thing I want to look at is dehydrating. I have to keep walking back and forth. I've been talking all morning. That glass went outside for quite a long time. So I'm sorry, I'm going to take a drink. Welcome, Keith.
Thank you.
When you're looking at dehydrating, you lose a little bit of nutrients. And the reason you lose a little bit of nutrients in dehydration is because the food is heated to at least around 140 degrees. And that causes the diminishing nutrient in the food. So that the heating of the trays in the freeze drying process does not do that because you're not heating it to that cooking point. So you don't lose those nutrients in the freeze drying process. We'll look at the stats on freeze drying too. Removes about 70 to 80% of the liquid, the water. Excuse me. Why is that important for preserving foods? That's because that's where the bacteria growth is going to happen in your liquid. That and oxygen combined, that's where your bacteria grows. That's going to, when that growth happens, that food is no longer shelf stable. Either needs to be eaten immediately, or it's going to take over where it's no longer palatable to you. Oddly enough, it doesn't mean it's bad for you. It may not be a flavor you like, right? Most people think, ooh, I don't want that. Our systems are not geared for that anymore. Back in the old days, we might eat something that was a little bit on the edge and it wouldn't bother us. But nowadays, all the preservatives and everything they put in our food in the grocery stores has got our systems way different. Homesteaders, we're becoming different because of that. That's the poisonous stuff they stick in our food. We don't want to know. We don't want to have. It's a lengthy rehydration, and it never really comes back to the same food. You've already lost some nutrients and minerals and things. Actually, not the minerals, not from the cooking, but it does have a shelf stability of around 24 months. Low end 6 months, depending on what it is. I can't make beef jerky last that long because I'm going to eat it up anyhow, right? And that's most people's dehydration. That's what they're thinking is beef jerky. We've done banana chips and all kinds of things that way. Jumping on to the next is freezing. Well, freezing right away, you can have a little bit of nutrient loss if you blanch the food. A lot of vegetables freeze faster when you blanch them. So you blanch them first and freeze them. But that blanching is heating the food, so you lose a little bit of nutrients. The alternative to that is to slow freeze it. Just let it freeze without a blanching, and what happens there is the molecules of water expand because it's a slow freeze, totally changes the texture of the food. So the fast freeze is better, and the big market out there has figured out how to flash freeze. Bird's Eye actually created the flash freezer, and that doesn't cause those molecules. That's why when you buy frozen food at the store, it doesn't look like a frozen food you froze, because they flash froze it, you slow froze it, and the molecules will stretch the food, the cell walls, and things like that. You also get freezer burn, which changes the taste totally. And it doesn't take that long if it's not packaged well. Vacuum sealers changed that a little bit over the years, so a vacuum sealed package does last longer than the old wax paper. I still package all of my venison in wax paper, but we freeze it. It ain't gonna last and go bad either. I promise you. Even though we put up 10 deer this year between me and my buddy. I'm bragging a little bit there, y'all. No, I'm teasing. Let's see. It does have a higher cost because you have to run the freezer. First you have to buy the freezer and you have to run the freezer constantly. A lot of us have them anyhow, so it's not, it factors in, but it's not the overall cost of the freezer. It doesn't go to your corn crop, so to speak, if you see what I'm saying there. And it'll last, and I'm not telling you at 12 months you take out your food that you've frozen and throw it away because it's no good anymore. All of us know if you get it out of there and it's frozen and it's been in there 3 years and you don't have freezer burn, it's still okay to eat. The flavors change and things like that over time, the longer it's been frozen. But as long as it's not freezer burnt and it doesn't have that distorted flavor, it's still safe for you to eat. It's just not as desirable as it was the day we took it off the cob, right? Or off the stalk. And next up, we got water bath and pressure canning. When you look at water bath and pressure canning, you're heating it again over 212 degrees in both instances, and that is cooking the food instantly. But let me tell you, one of my favorite way to preserve chicken is canned on the bone. It looks absolutely disgusting. I like to never tried it, but it's the most flavorful you'll ever eat chicken. It's raw pack, put in the jar and put in the canner. You can it just like you would anything else. It's a low acid food, so you can it with a pressure canner, and it cooks that meat, and man, it's good. That's the best way to preserve chicken, in my opinion. We freeze a lot, but we also freeze dry chicken. That can last up to 60 months. And I got this, it says 1 to 5 years on the screen. I got it in 60 months. There's a key to that, and we'll talk about that when we get to the freeze drying part. Can be expensive, the equipment. I mean, a good American, all American canner is the one I recommend because it has a lot of good safeties to it. Those are $300 for the good one, especially if you want to get the double stack, and but you can get an electric canner nowadays too. I haven't personally used one. My wife just told me the other day she would like to get one to try. And the water bath canning, it's still going over 200.
Okay, folks, that's it. We had Jack there talking about freeze drying and also canning, and just a little example of what you get here at the Oklahoma Homestead Rendezvous and other types of events like this. It's getting a little bit later in the day, but if you're local here, it's not too late to come out and enjoy all of these surroundings. The vendors are still here, and people are having a lot of fun. Anyway, we'll see you on the next one.
What did I say about the water? That's where your bacteria and growth and your rock